Happy Tuesday, Scott.
Happy Tuesday to you too, friend. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are things down in San Diego, LA land?
Things are pretty good. Everybody's coming back from spring break and getting ready for the last 5 or 6 or 7 week push to the end of the school year, and just trying to keep our heads above water.
Yep. And here at Microsoft, we're already thinking about the summer and back to school time, and so you're trying to wrap your year, and we're already trying to plan for the next steps and getting
right.
back to school before it even ends, right?
100%. Always 6, 10, 12 months ahead of yourself, right?
Yeah, that's how it works. Well, I know I'm excited about our guest tonight. Obviously, being April Autism Awareness Month, we really wanted to, lean into this conversation around autism and looking at it specifically in education and what supports there are, but then even also outside of education. And once these learners are leaving our education institutions, what's next, right? So I'm really excited about bringing our guest on tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's such an important topic, and one I think educators and students and community members of all sorts need to know more about and get more involved in, for sure.
All right. Well, without further ado, I'm really excited to introduce our guest tonight. We've got Mary Beth Saunier, who is here with us. She holds a very special place in my heart. So Mary Beth and I have been best friends since we were about 5 years old. And when I thought about this month's topic, she instantly came to mind as someone who is so deeply passionate about this particular topic and space, and has poured her life's work into raising awareness around autism and supporting teachers and students in her community. So with us tonight, we've got Mary Beth Saunier, who's here from Calcasieu Parish School Boards. She is a technology facilitator and has supported learners and teachers with autism for a long time. So Mary Beth, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you. That was a great introduction.
Not bad. Welcome, Mary Beth. Great to see you.
Good to see you too.
So Mary Beth, why don't you tell us a little bit about your work that you do with students with autism? How has, why did you choose this as your path to go down and mission? I obviously stated how passionate about this you were, but what made you choose this as your life's work? And tell us a little bit about what it looks like and what your daily work is involving.
Okay. I always felt that it chose me. I never would have imagined I would choose to teach special ed. Like that was what I wanted. I was going to school to be a general ed teacher, elementary. And I took the one special ed class that we had to take, and I immediately changed my major. I've had the pleasure and the complete honor to teach students with autism for 19 years, or at least in some capacity working with the students. I was a classroom teacher for students that were in preschool with autism, and every day was an absolute adventure. I learned so much from these babies. Like, they're not babies anymore. One of my babies just graduated from high school. Could not go to the graduation because of COVID, which really made me sad. But one of my babies graduated from college. How amazing is that? She was nonverbal. She was completely nonverbal, and she's going to McNeese, where I went and where Robin went. And I think that's just incredible. But I'm actively involved in the autism community with the autism, the different autism groups that are available in our area. So again, with education, after I left the classroom, I was an assistive technology facilitator, which means that I worked directly with the students that had IEPs that required specialized intervention. And most of those students, I would say maybe not most, but a good chunk of those students had ASD, autism spectrum disorders, or some form of autism. So we worked with them on communication and social skills and just all the things.
So for all of our viewers out there tonight, if you could share with them, what is it that you would really want them to know that's important to know about students with autism?
Oh gosh, this one's so easy, and we'll try not to go on too long because it's supposed to be just like a thing that I want everybody to know. But absolutely, without a question, autism has characteristics that some children with autism or some individuals with autism have certain characteristics that are autism characteristics, but no two people are the same. Just because you've met someone with autism doesn't mean that the next person you meet with autism is going to need the same things. Each child has unique strengths, amazing strengths, needs, and difficulties. And one thing that I'm very passionate about, and I'm on the board of directors for the St. Nicholas Center that provides early intervention for children with autism. Early intervention is so incredibly important. So as a parent, if you think that maybe there's a chance that your child may have some form of autism or some type of sensory integration issue, do something right now. Don't wait. So early intervention and knowing as a teacher that no two are the same. No two, and that's anybody really, but every student is going to have different needs.
Yeah, no, I actually heard that recently, just last week in a conversation with a special education director. And that was the one thing she said is, people tend to lump students with disabilities all in the same group. And so really know that even inside of a disorder, there is a huge range and that, we shouldn't be categorizing or lumping people together, grouping them because you've met somebody with X before.
Right. And I don't know if you guys are, I'm very in love with Dr. Temple Grandin. She is phenomenal. But one thing that she is very, very famous for, or at least famous in my brain for saying, is that don't look at the disability, look at the difficulty. What is it that the student, not the student with autism, but what is it that the student is having trouble with? Is it that they have that their handwriting is super messy? Well then how about we use the keyboard or we type it or dictate or whatever, like I think that's something that's really, really important to keep in mind as well.
You hit on so many things there. And I love this conversation, one, because it's near and dear to my heart. My wife's got her start in special ed as well. So I got exposure to those kids and just fell in love with them at the same time. And your comment about, every student being different, and that's kind of where the blue puzzle piece lapel pin came from, right? Like not every student is a puzzle to be figured out. Everyone is individual. So when you take that from supporting students to the school and community leadership level, like, what do you say to school leaders? And you're kind of one in your role now, right? You're working in technology, but principals, superintendents, that level, how best can the superintendents and school leaders support teachers and those students knowing the unique needs and challenges that those students and programs might have?
Awesome question. I think that the best way to do that is to offer the training, offer supports, maybe even insist that they participate in certain things. I just completed a training or an online class that I was teaching, and it was all about accessibility and equity. The teachers, I had over 50 teachers that took the course. It was a 2-week course, and it was amazing to get feedback from them, things that they had no idea about. We're a Microsoft district, and I provided them with a lot of training with the Microsoft learning tools, which are constantly, the list of tools in each area is constantly growing, that I don't even know if your friend Mike has it all updated yet. I mean, it's just phenomenal, the learning tools. So how to implement the learning tools, what learning tools are available in each area, whether it be in OneNote, in PowerPoint, in Word, whatever you're using, there are learning tools that are available and so simple to access. And if the teacher's using those tools with their students, they're modeling how to do it. And then the student is then able to learn how to do it for themselves, and that's going to increase or promote their independence, which is exactly what we want, for them to be able to access a document or access a story or a book and instantly know, oh, wait, I can open this in Immersive Reader and it's going to have the filter that I have saved. It's going to have all the words spaced and the line spacing, and or if they're not familiar or very familiar with English, they can always translate using the immersive reader as well. So practicing the tools, I think, is the biggest, is for the school districts, is implementing and training.
Right.
And not to assume that they can't.
And we were actually talking before the show, we were talking about how so many of these schools and districts have the tools, but they're sometimes just barely scratching the surface. So making sure that the school leaders and tech trainers and whatnot really know the full scope of the tools to be able to implement them, and not just use OneNote or just use Teams. Not that those aren't great tools, but understanding the full spectrum of tools you can use. Yeah,
implementing them and how you can implement them for your student use. Yeah.
So taking that and looking at it the reverse way, what do you, if you think, as you look at students with, my furry friends are.
Was that my niece?
Sorry, Scott, I'm going to go over to you for a second.
No problem. That will no doubt make it to the outtakes for sure.
That's awesome.
I love that. I'm not 100% sure where Robin was going with that, but she'll circle back for sure. One of the interesting things for me, Mary Beth, and I'm curious about your thoughts, is integrating this, the students with special needs, whatever their particular issue or need is, integrating those folks in with the entire school community. I know a lot of the schools I visited, these programs are, I hate to say it, but on the outskirts, right? They're like in a trailer or in their own building. Sometimes because that was the facility they had available, right? Because these programs often need more space because of the OT and PT and that sort of thing.
Right.
But how do we better make that connection between students with autism, Down syndrome, all the special needs, and the general education population at a school?
I think one of the biggest things is to remember acceptance and awareness, and to model and teach that to your students. Model it and teach it, not just tell them hey, be nice to kids that are different. But it's not just somebody with disabilities. It can be somebody that is just from a different country that comes to a school that's predominantly a different culture. Teaching kids generally kindness and acceptance is very, very important, and not singling the students out. And sadly, if they are in a portable building outside, they are definitely outcasted and not included. If I had my way, the students would be involved in the classrooms with all of their neurotypical friends. They would be with the students that they should be with. And I have to say, in our parish, because we have parishes here, in our parish, we have an amazing, we have a bunch of amazing schools, but one school for sure is a middle school, and they do a phenomenal job of including their students with disabilities. For example, a couple of students will attend art. They had art with my son when he was at that school, and he would come home and tell me stories all the time about the things that they would say and whatever. And it was just so amazing for my son to get to experience what I am so in love with, is these students. It doesn't matter who you are, they touch you. They are deep in your soul forever. And I love that my son wouldn't have had that experience. Well, other than, they come to my house, I used to before all the fun, but I've made so many friends that have autism or have children with autism. And my 4 students have become friends. So as they were growing up, the parents would call me and be like, can you please come and get so-and-so? And so I would say, okay, she's 12. I'd go pick her up. We'd come to my house and play life, So my son is very familiar with differences like that, but the other students get to experience it whenever they're included. And it's so important for them to be aware of differences.
Yeah. Well, I think
I don't even know if I answered the question.
You did. It was perfect.
Yeah. Well, and I think your shirt answers it too. You're talking about
yes.
And really, having that, reciprocal relationship inside the classrooms of students of all, backgrounds, et cetera. It doesn't have to be special education or anything, but it's just really about promoting inclusion. So shout out to your t-shirt. I really like that one.
Thank you. That's from Bayou Blend. I'm gonna give a shout out to my friends over there at Bayou Blend. She creates shirts that are autism friendly. They don't have tags. They're super, super soft. She has so many to choose from too. By the way, they're super cute. If y'all get bored, you can go in there and check out some clothes.
Do some more online shopping. That's what I need to do.
Yes, yes, for sure. Bayou Blend.
Mary Beth, we are so excited to learn from you tonight. But before we let you go, we want to see if you were down for a little bit of lightning
round. Okay.
That's an
Jen did not text me the answers. Okay, I'm ready.
All right. We're going to
get situated.
Some easy ones. Okay. So what's your favorite food?
Why do I go blank? I'm completely blank. Sushi.
Okay.
Is that clear?
Yeah. What's your favorite sound?
Something really inappropriate came to mind, and I'm not even going to. The cash register.
Okay. Your least favorite sound?
Screaming.
All right. What app on your phone do you use most often in?
Microsoft Office Lens, and that is no joke. Swear to God.
Full of shameless plugs tonight. I love it.
No, but it's the truth. You could look.
Yeah. No, it's a great app. Incredibly useful.
All right. I already used that.
A little bit difficult here. You got to think outside the box here. What job outside of your current position would you most like to attempt? And hopefully something outside of education that you would most like to attempt.
Yes, I would like to be a forensic person. Somebody that does like forensic science, but I could never pass the classes, I know, but that would be fun.
Nice.
Or and a detective, maybe do that.
You could be on Dateline and all those great cop shows that I watch all the time, right?
Me too.
And then the flip side of that, what job or profession would you definitely not want to attempt?
Oh, being a administrator or a director or supervisor at nope, I'm good. I like where I'm at. I wouldn't want to I don't want to be a boss.
Fair enough.
I may regret saying this. Maybe one day I might change my mind, and then they'll show this and be like, remember you said, yeah.
You reserve the right to change your mind should an opportunity come up down the road, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then we'll get you out of here on this one. When your career is over at your retirement ceremony or your going away luncheon or what have you, what do you hope your colleagues and friends are saying about you?
That I loved my job and I promoted acceptance and independence for all the students.
Love it.
Terrific. Well done.
I wasn't prepared at all for those.
You did great. Love it.
Awesome.
Thank y'all so much.
Well, no, thank you for being here tonight and just, letting other folks out here that are listening in get a glimpse into, your role, what it takes, and why this is so, a very much a part of who you are, and just really trying to raise awareness. That's a
yes,
there.
It is.
Of neurodiversity, and that we all have uniquenesses, and we should accept all, regardless of those out there. So thank you so much for sharing all that with us tonight.
Thanks, Mary Beth. We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
I so appreciate those conversations, Robin, and I love that we're getting into those topics and not just, talking about tech tools or websites or apps, because they're just, not only are there great stories out there, but I think so powerful to share. And you connected it great back to diversity and inclusion, and which we've mentioned so many times on the show this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's what technology's role in all this should be. Technology should be the invisible piece that really empowers us to be more inclusive, or empowers people to learn in different ways, or across different, time zones, et cetera. So it should not be about the technology. The conversation should be, how do those things, work in the background to make our society more inclusive, more powerful, more aware, more knowledgeable, et cetera. So
right. Empower everyone to do more, achieve more, be more, the whole thing, right?
Absolutely. It's our mission.
I love it. Well, let's kind of in that same line, we thought we would just share some additional resources. And I know there are hundreds out there. Shout out to my wife, who she and some of her district friends help with these as well. But we thought we'd share just a few things that folks can use, maybe to add to your toolkit, or potentially even some resources that you haven't seen before to support autism awareness and meeting the needs of all students with special needs. So the first one's a great organization, autismspeaks.org. They definitely are famous for wearing the blue pen, or the blue puzzle lapel pen. I see it all the time when I go to their events, and I have a couple actually former students that have worked with the organization. So their website is full of amazing resources. They've got descriptions of symptoms and causes of autism, resources on how to treat, how to support the students through therapy and inclusion in classroom and things like that. Very informative website, and their organization does a lot of work in many different communities around the country. Also a nonprofit, so there's also a chance to donate your time, your money, your energy to their cause. So if you have a chapter or a group or events in your area, you can certainly look them up and begin to take part in that and contribute to their cause. This next one was really impressive. Full disclosure, this is a 96-page guide from the NEA, National Education Association. And by the way, all the links you see here on the page or on the screen, I know they're kind of long. We're going to add these to our YouTube channel, so they'll be in the comments in the description on YouTube. But this is a 96-page guide on teaching students with autism. Really breaks it down nicely into some of the supports that should be in place. It has templates for unit planning and responsibilities in terms of what does the teacher do, what are the OTs and the PTs, the different support staff that get brought in to an autism class or to a class that has autism students in it. So definitely worth the read, and you can certainly jump around. It's very nicely organized into different sections. But again, that was from the NEA, their PDF guide that you can download and print out and maybe put to OneNote if you'd like, and use that resource. This one was super, super creative. It's from the Art of Autism, which is an organization that really molds those two things together, bringing students and folks with autism together through the community and the arts. And this link here takes you to a comic strip, basically a vertical scrolling comic strip on a website that walks you through what it's like to have autism and to be a student and an individual in the world with autism. But I just love the creative approach to it. It wasn't just a document with a bunch of bullet points. I love the graphical visual approach to it. And it put just a fun, creative spin and made it kind of easier to digest. So definitely recommend checking that out. Also, there's a PDF printed version, and I love that there's actually a French, English, and Spanish version as well of that comic strip. And you can click and change there right on the website. So I love that multilingual access as well. And the last one is a group called waterford.org. The link that you see there takes you to this list of 30 activities and resources and strategies. I think what I loved most about this one, I love a good list. Nice to be able just to refer back to and go through the list. But almost every one of the techniques or tools or tips in the list has a link to other resources. So you end up getting, 60 or 70 actually resources and tips there on this. So again, waterford.org, another great organization that does a lot of work, not just with students with special needs, but across all different areas of education. And I know, Robin, Microsoft obviously is huge on inclusion and is doing several really key things to meet the needs of these students as well.
Yeah. So about 6 years ago, we actually here at Microsoft started an autism hiring program where we were specifically recruiting folks with autism to be employees at the company. So this year is our 6-year anniversary, and we've actually expanded that initiative out to not just hire individuals with autism, but look across the neurodiversity spectrum. So, folks with dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia. There's many other, I'll probably go down the list, but ADHD even, right? And so really looking at neurodiversity as part of an inclusive hiring program. And we've done work, obviously, as a company, but we have a large group of others that we work with in this space as well, including the University of Washington, which actually helped develop a playbook that other companies can use in as far as how to, be more inclusive in your hiring, especially in the neurodiverse world that we live in. So really just proud to work at a company that is prioritizing inclusive hiring and in all aspects, especially around neurodiversity. So it kind of extends the work beyond the K-12 and higher ed space, but giving these folks a home and a place to work so that they can continue to be successful members of society. Absolutely.
That full continuum, right?
Yep. And along those lines, there was also a great article that Monster just came out with the same type of thing. So you're going to start seeing, I think, more folks paying attention to these things, more companies becoming more inclusive in their hiring and also just in recruiting, right? I think as a company, we always want whatever it is that you create and you want it to reflect the population. And how can you accurately reflect the population if you're not including all aspects of the population? So I think, many companies are starting to figure this out and understand the importance of it. And I think we'll see this trend to continue to grow, which makes my heart really happy. With that, we also just wanted to make sure everybody knows there is an actual accessibility Twitter channel that's called @Microsoft_Enable that is open to the community or to the public. Anyone who has a question about accessibility, you can tweet @Microsoft_Enable, the MSFT Enable a Twitter handle, and they will answer questions there. So if there's questions that you want to ask, feel free to do that. We have folks that sit on behind that channel and literally respond to accessibility questions.
And we had one epic educator on tonight, but I know you always get excited to celebrate the others.
Yes, absolutely. Super excited to have Mary Beth, obviously, share and join with us. She's an amazing part of our MIE expert family and community, and is part of an amazing school district in Calcasieu Parish that we get to work with. But we do want to recognize some epic educators tonight that have been doing some really awesome things around accessibility and inclusion. So we're going to start off by doing a shout out to Natasha Rochelle and Felisa Ford, who are two amazing MIE expert educators. I can't say enough about these ladies. This one tweet doesn't do justice for their contributions in education in general. But they're from Georgia, and they have a YouTube channel that is, all about accessibility. And so it's a one-stop shop that teachers can use to find how to make their classroom more accessible.
To be fair, all of the educators tonight, we could have pulled multiple tweets from any one of them to include in tonight's segment for sure.
Absolutely. The next one we have Rory. I'm going to mess this last name up because it's, all the letters like mine almost. Yakuba from New Jersey. Yeah. Really, she's kind of goes on and talks about really the importance of using chats and Giphies in Microsoft Teams and how that is provides a more inclusive learning environment for students. We know that, even as adults on text messages and social media, we're always responding with GIFs and chats, and it makes you smile. So one of the things that she talks about is how in Microsoft Teams, she was able to really use the GIFs inside of there for all students to have a voice. So even the student who may be hesitant and not really want to participate in class, a lot of times they don't hesitate getting to respond to something with a GIF. And then the last one that we were going to recognize is as a duo. So Genely, for many of you that if you don't follow Genely, hashtag Genely is their social persona, but Jenny Long and Celie Clark, who are from the Fort Worth area of Texas, they create so much great content. Let's just start there. They are all about sharing. Like if I had to come up with one word about this amazing duo, it would be, just epic sharers. Sure. But they have been really sharing about how they are using Wakelet, OneNote, and Flipgrid to create breakout activities. So that's a lot. 3 amazing tools to create student engaging activities for all learners. So check them out on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, all their channels. Great way to get engaged and get some ideas that you can use in your classroom tomorrow. So with that, we are going to wrap our show up for tonight. As always, Scott, it's amazing to be here with you and to leverage your expertise as an educator and school leader as well. I'm looking forward to our next show, which will be on April 29th. And we're going to take a deeper dive into what does it take to become a Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, or what does it take to become a Microsoft Showcase School. These are two programs that we get to celebrate amazing educators and school leaders here at Microsoft. And there are many people maybe listening tonight saying, hey, you guys talk about these things, but how do I join this? How do I get to be a part of this family community that we have here at Microsoft? So we're going to bring on some guests and let them tell you what they get from these communities as well, and all the details on how you too can be part of these programs.
And if you want a little preview of some of the content and the kind of things we talk about, we just had our Educator Exchange, our E2 event. Those videos are up, so please feel free to go check out those. That link that was a registration link now takes you direct to the YouTube playlist. That'll give you a nice preview of some of the things that these two communities talk about and are thinking about and working on every day. And as always, you can catch all of our past episodes. We've had some amazing guests on this year. Please check out our YouTube channel. And Robin, you said it best, but I would echo it. I just really appreciate the conversations that we have on this show, the people that we're bringing on, and obviously the chance to interact with you and chat with you and all the amazing people is something I look forward to every couple of weeks for sure.
Absolutely. Well, hey, you have a great evening, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks right back here on this channel. Thanks, everyone. Have a great night.
Take care, everybody. Have a good night.